Whenever you have a breakout, two things can happen. A breakout can get continuation and some type of a measured move up. On the weekly chart of the DAX, we had a huge breakout bar. It rallied to a new all-time high, and at the time I said, I'm curious to see what the follow-through is going to look like. Will it be another big bull bar closing on its high, having good follow-through? That will increase the chances of higher prices. But breakouts can fail as well, and when they fail, the low of the breakout is always the target for the opposite party. So in this case, the bears are trying to get to the 717. This is on the weekly chart, and we almost reached the 717. The low of this week was 759. Some people might say, but we did reach it, but that is in an overnight session. I'm looking at the day session, and I want to see it being reached between 8 a.m. Europe time and 10 p.m. European time. So that has not yet been reached. I'm expecting it to be reached next week, and that will be a failed breakout. The next target and the next magnet for the bears is to get below the prior breakout or the prior higher low. There's a higher low here. We come back, make a new higher low. That is a higher low. That is a higher low. That is a higher low. The bears want to get below here, 23,831. I think that's going to be too far, but 717 would fail this big bull breakout. Probably buyers below and will rally into the midpoint, the 50% mark, but that is a victory for the bears if they get below that low. On the daily chart, you have the same pattern. This is the daily chart on the hours between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. And you can see this low is a little bit higher than on the weekly chart. It's 916. And so traders love to see, the bears love to see 915. That will be one tick below. And we went below that low, 915. And ultimately we tested here the 917. You can also look at the chart from 9 a.m. to 5:30, the chart that mimics the hours where the cash index is open. And on that chart, the low is a little bit higher. It's 950. And we broke 950 almost on Monday. 956 was the low of Monday. But we hit it on Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then Friday reversed up to it. So they're obviously very important prices. If we go through the price action from last week, I drew in those magnets down here, the 950 and the 917, and the 717. This is the price action until Friday, and then you can see Monday's open almost at the magnet, but a sharp reversal back up. Usually on the weekly chart, you don't have gaps to last week, and so there is at the open here, there's a gap between Monday and Friday. Traders are pretty sure that at some point in the week we're going to close the gap to the close of Friday. And we did that on Monday. You can see here the spike around 2:30 closed the gap to Friday's close. That was the magnet for the Monday's trade. So Monday escaped the pull from the 950, but then on Tuesday we had a big gap down, follow through, and tiny follow through bar 2, probably a trading range, but good enough for a second leg down. Second leg down hit the 950, but not the 917, and rallied from that level. Not all that far though. We made a new high on the day and we fell back down. This was a measured move from, of course, the high there on the Monday and that breakout point, and then a measured move, pull back to the breakout point and another test of the measured move on Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning was the second test of the 950 and the completion into the 917 ultimately here at the low of the day. We tried to go further down, but that is a strong magnet. And whenever you see a strong magnet and you reach a strong magnet, usually an overshoot will pull back to the magnets. And you can see that the rest of the week, we pretty much reverted back to the 917, the 950. And on Friday, the bulls managed to close almost at the 950 mark. I think on the continuous chart here, we closed just around the 950 mark as well. So this is the extended hours from Friday. So I always pay attention to these lower highs and these higher lows because in a trading range, you want to do the opposite of what traders are doing in a trend. In a trend, traders trail the stops to lower lows and lower highs. But in a trading range, the lower highs and the higher lows are targets. They're magnets. It's where the bears want to get to. It's where the bulls want to push the market up to. So here, on Monday, the day was by and large a trading range. We had two huge legs down. The bulls want to rally to where the bears would have a stop in a trend. That's the magnet. The second magnet is the other bear stop. Well, the bears sell the market down to below that low, and if they can, below that low. And you can see that the market reverses up, profit taking from the bears as soon as we reach higher lows and lower highs. So the trading ranges are the opposite of trends. Well, on the weekly chart, if we reach that low, the bulls have stopped making higher highs and higher lows. That is why the bears want to get there. So that low is significant. We didn't reach it last week, but we are only a couple of points away. If we do go below this week's low next week, 717 is going to be a strong magnet. I don't think we're going to go much lower. This is a bad sell signal. It's got a huge tail. It has a little bit of follow through. I don't think we're going to necessarily go to 23,831, for example, on the weekly chart. Below here, I think we're going to find buyers soon. That is very bad follow through for the bears. So I'm expecting a bull bar into next week. Here on the daily chart, you have one leg down, you have a second leg down, you have a third leg down, but this leg already went above that leg. That puts the market in a trading range. We could go a little lower, test maybe here, 24,600, 24,500, but overall I think bulls will step in here. We're creating inside bars. Bears are selling above the inside bar, bulls are buying below the inside bar. The top of the inside bar is a magnet, that is 253, and for bears, a measured move of an inside bar is a magnet. And so this is a tight trading range, buyers below, and if we do rally, I do expect us to go into the 25,600. So overall, I think we're low, maybe not low enough, but all down here, I would want to be probably more a buyer than a seller, even though we could still get another leg down. I'm looking to buy in this area for a reversal up into at least 25,400. All right, everyone, if you are interested in more DAX, join us in the Euro trading room on brookstradingcourse.com. And otherwise, I'll see you in the US sessions. Bye, everyone.